Hello everyone, I'm Silverraptor and welcome back to another Wargame Red Dragon practicing for Warno video. So, again, we're just going to play the US this time around, as they are the actual nation out for Warno at the moment, as Warno is constantly getting new updates, and eventually going to get new divisions of the different factions, but for now, let's play some USA. So, in this game, we're playing on Hop and Glory, and we just got together into a game with Spectrum Master and Quiddity, and we're up against three different guys over here as well. And I think the map is Hop and Glory. I don't remember it off the top of my head, even though I did select it. I played a lot of games on different maps, so might get that confused. Anyways, as we were talking, trying to figure out the strategy, Quiddity's like, I'm going to push up here, and he said, why didn't someone just Helo Rush Delta? And I'm just like, well, I've got Blackhawks and such. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm preparing for a Helo Rush. I'm also not going to leave Foxtrot completely undefended, so I also say I'm going to put a couple defenses here. And then Spectrum's going over to the left to defend on Gulf. So we're going to start this off. I'm going to speed up just a little bit to get everything moving. So as you can see, I even started off with a mortar so I can try to help out smoking stuff off for these helicopters as they go forward. And I have a longbow. I had deliberately put my longbow back behind all of these Black Hawk helicopters. Here, let's just follow them for a moment. And having the DAPs trying to go up front, they're going to, of course, try to stop any helicopters that might try to stop this Helo Rush as I try to unload all of my troops. As you can see, I have a bunch of Black Hawks with Stingers and Light Rifleman 90s in them. And here we go, I've had some Black Hawks with a couple Light Rifleman 90s, a Stinger, and a CV squad just so that we can get some points into Foxtrot. So here we go. All of my Black Hawks here are going to begin unloading short of the town, just so that I can get them on the ground sooner. But the longbow is going to go over to the right, and the DAPs just move forward. I do not tell them to stop. I just tell them to keep moving up forward. Quirty's going to help with a Barak. That helps kill some of the helicopters. But now that they're up close, I'm telling them to stop so they can fire their Stinger missiles. But the reason why I had them move is because their Stingers actually have a 70% stabilizer. And if they try to stop to attack, that's too late, it just died. But if they stop to attack, they kind of move their nose up, and then they try to lock on with their Stingers. But if they keep moving forward, they'll just fire their Stingers as they're moving forward, and they don't have to worry about a period where they're not firing. That gives you a better chance of just shooting any of the helicopters the enemy has. My longbow here is going to be shooting at anything that tries to sneak over here. This thing actually lost line of sight, but with the fire and forget missiles, it did kill the OSA. AA fired at the longbow. Longbow is continuing to fire at a transport over here. And the Tesla B is also going to be helping me up. Quirty did say he would support me in this endeavor, and he's also moving up his main force after he captured Juliet. It's weird he took this road, but he did, and he's going to be helping me secure into Delta. I'm moving up my Blackhawks just to see what's going on, even though they are 25 points. This is kind of recon to figure out everything that is happening. And the enemy decides that they're going to counterattack this push by sending a bunch of their tanks. I actually thought they were going to climb into the town this way, so I was trying to maneuver my Light Rifleman 90s. But then I saw, oh, they're actually going this way. My longbow actually missed with its Hellfire missiles. It is shaken, and the Hellfires, even though Fire Brigade have a stabilizer penalty. So now I'm trying to scramble to get my Light Rifleman 90s into position, as there's even more tanks coming up as well. So the enemy's doing the smart thing and trying to counter our heli rush by reasoning that I don't have much in Foxtrot, and they are indeed correct. Actually, it looks like this group is going over here into Gulf. My Right Rifleman 90s are trying to open up with their Super Dragon missiles. They actually get a side shot on a T-55, but that is not enough to kill it. Another hit with the Super Dragon by the Light Rifleman. Here comes another missile, but it misses the line of sight with some buildings in the way as the Light Riflemen are stunned up. And I am actually quickly running out of stuff to stop them with. This one Light Rifleman 90s are not going to be able to stop these T-55s. They do hit another, get them panicked up, as the enemy looks like he's focusing more onto this side into Gulf, doing a suicide run into here, as they are going to be killing my Light Rifleman 90s. M1A2 Abrams is trying to stop them from Spectrum Master, but it looks like he's going to be charging forward against them. Kills an M1 Abrams, which did manage to get its front armor in. So looks like the enemy's trying to do a force to try to secure Gulf since we tried to secure Delta. I immediately bring up the Thunderbolt, and I actually turned off the Maverick missiles because look at that Gatling cannon. The Avenger can take out tanks very easily. Meanwhile, Quirty's forces are taking the front, trying to push the enemy back into the forest. My light riflemen are ready to support. Thunderbolt comes back around again, easily killing off these T-55s and these ASUs and everything. Still going to keep the Avenger, who's using the Avenger cam. As you can see, it runs out of ammo very quickly from the rapid way to fire. So the Maverick missiles are on, because once those 6 Maverick missiles are on, it will Winchester. Missiles are out, kills one thing, killed another thing, and it's now out of the Avenger cannon. So there's only 3 tanks left, as looks like Sir Alec is distracted elsewhere again. As the Thunderbolt comes around, fires 2 last Maverick missiles, and manages to kill the last main heavy tank. So the ASU and the T-55 are left. Lav mortars are trying to hold off the enemy forces. They are pushing forward. 2 T-72Ss manage to kill all the infantry into this area, as Spectrum brings up a longbow. Manages to kill one of the T-72Ss, but he does need to be careful in case there's any AA around. I was worried that they might be coming after my CV, so I'm putting my Blackhawks and Twin Hueys just to be annoying as possible. ASU-85 is even engaging with its top machine gun to try to go after him. So like these Blackhawks are trying to follow him. It's like, be one of us, just to keep scouting them out. And as I bring in a Cobra, it has only tow missiles, but these guys that are left don't really have much health or armor left. So the tow missile is actually going to be quite effective, as it looks like QWERTY's also bringing a Tesla B with rocket pods to stop it. Rocket pods coming in, starts up the T-55. And it looks like the Tesla B killed the ASU as the Cobra's tow kills that. So I'm able to stop this and completely secure Foxtrot. Now Spectrum's in trouble. He's very thin on the ground. M1A2 has a stabilizer malfunction, and at half health, only Rangers, Lad C Stingers, and some longbows are left. The longbow actually took a little bit of hits. He's moving it up. Looks like he's trying to spot something, but the Sopel does indeed see it, hits it, stuns it. It may have lost his life, but it killed the longbow. So that is not good news for Spectrum, as I'm moving my Blackhawks to get ready to stop any kind of infantry push as well over to the left. They do have twin miniguns, which are both on the side, but they both faced forward, so a lot of firepower to suppress enemy infantry. Even a helo is over here. Looks like an Alouette of some kind. As you can see, the enemy kind of fell apart, not expecting the heli rush strategy. QWERTY's got all of this secured. My light riflemen and Stingers have got this all nice locked down. My mortar actually didn't do anything. I forgot about it. And the Cobra's even over here ready to help out. Blackhawk's moving up, seeing if it can spot anything. Nothing fires back, but I decide that's about far enough, so that there's not an enemy attack right away. My longbow is, of course, refueling with Hellfire missiles, as the enemy is making a push forward with his T-72S. Gets the M1A2 down to 1 health, but with the expert training of the M1A2 does kill it, but it's down to 1 hit point left, as looks like a T-55 AM is here. I tell it to keep eyes because the Thunderbolt is rearmed, refueled, and coming back in. I'm going to try to save that M1A2. I'm going to say, please just keep the eyes. Rangers, do not lose that. But Spectrum has other ideas. He just goes and freaking kills it. So M1A2 is alive, but badly damaged. Twin Hueys and Blackhawks are moving forward. These are actually to try to spot for my Thunderbolt a bit, trying to see if they can help. But then Spectrum says, nah, don't do that. Bring it back. So I don't actually pursue any further forward. Looks like Spectrum either is bringing a CV or asking someone to bring a CV, as QWERTY is also bringing forward a CV as well. Yeah, Spectrum saying, get these guys back. I don't want them here. He's dropping off some more stuff, so I'm just trying to get a secure position into Gulf, and once we get to Delta, we're going to plan to push our way forward on the enemy. My Thunderbolt's not really doing anything, so I just evac it, so it's on standby, as my longbow is now fully armed and going to bring its exceptional optics to replace the longbow that he lost over here on Gulf. I think our next plan of attack is to push onto Charlie and possibly wait for QWERTY to get a force mass to push into Alpha and Bravo. Again, this is the lull before the storm. Here's an ITO 90 that I see briefly. My longbow says, nope, not going to deal with that. And so it's time to start taking out the enemy dug-in trenches, entrenched vehicles with the Atacams. And it's going to get into position with the 20 AP top armor damage. I see that there's an ITO 90 here. It looks like there are some vehicles. Lavs. XA 185 KTs, but I mean, they're really lavs. And it looks like they're going to start artillery, trying to find where that Abrams is. It is damaged, so it's going to need some supply to repair up as the XA-185s are moving forward. The SMAs are in position, ready to go. They only have 875 meter range, so they have to let those guys get up pretty close. One is taken out as the other is going to be opening up with his autocannon. Doesn't do enough before the other SMA kills it. So the enemy's not doing the very best. And 100 points. The artillery that was firing, I added cams to this position, and looks like it took out. It was one of those low ammo, linked to the fob kind of artillery pieces. So my Atacams is also now aiming at where this ITO 90 is, so I can take that out and then have more free range with my longbow. My longbow, I think, is spotting it. That are these ranger squads, and there's even some infantry vehicles right here. Looks like the Atacams have fired the missile. There it is, coming on in. I'm aiming right for the ITO 90 as the mortars are coming from Spectrum. As I kill the ITO 90, and looks like one of the transport vehicles as the lav mortars, Lav mortars are trying to artillery mortar that position, as looks like more artillery is coming in from the enemy, but I don't know quite where it is coming from. And then at this point, we've just completely decimated the enemy's forces in our push, and we're consolidating our position enough that they all quickly and in rapid succession start beginning to surrender. And so you say, wait, this is it? This is the American game that you wanted to show us, to showcase America before switching to Warno? And no. Now, I felt that this was cheap, but again, I was getting burnt out in games, and I said, this is good enough. But you know what? I hear you guys. He did pretty good with all of my stuff, all the stuff that got killed here. And the Thunderbolt, love that Gatling gun. But this game is not going to be the end of this video. So I decide I wanted to try to do a tactical, because I haven't done those in a while. So let's go over to a USA Tactical. Hello, we're now with the USA Tactical, but you are all probably wondering, what happened? This has been a long time since the USSR video. Well, I play a tactical game. I edited this video together. I watched it preliminarily, like I usually do, and realized it was just boring. The whole thing was boring. I scrapped it. I scrapped the tactical video because it didn't make up for the first part. The first part I wanted to keep in as just like a regular game because I just could not get any good regular games as USA. And this tactical, though, is a lot better. So we'll play the tactical here. It took me a while to get this tactical in, with both being busy and just not getting good games. But anyways, hopefully this will make up for the absence of videos, as I had to scrap a lot of stuff to do so. Anyways, playing tactical on Nuclear Winter is coming. I'm just going to go direct route straight to India and try to hold off the enemy while the rest of my allies go and do the stuff. I'm going to be honest, the whole game, I paid no attention to what was going on over here. So I don't even know what happens really, other than we slowly start pushing forward. But anyways, so I'm moving up. I've got a Patriot ready, of course, vetted up, because the one Patriot in this game, in this deck for the tactical. I also have a couple of Humvees, which have light rifleman 90s in them, as well as V-150 with Navy SEALs. I also have some SMAs, Stingers, and some Combat. And of course I put my TACCOM squad here in Foxtrot so that we can cap it. Mi-28 is here, but Maverick is engaging with his Mistral. Well, actually there's a heli rush. Managed to take on the Mi-28 pretty good. One more fire with the Mistral, and that misses. Mistral also fires and hits the Ka-52, which fires its Igla back, but misses the Tiger Hap. That was Fierce Tomatoes, so he's lost his helicopters at the very start of the game, and he just noped right out. I unload all of my stuff into the forest here, and as I'm moving my infantry across to try to hold this town, I just want to keep it completely defended up as my allies are finally firing their LAR cluster munition a little early, I think. Oh, there are little sparks over here, but I don't think they're doing a whole lot of damage. But anyways, the whole point of this is just to keep the enemy at bay. Artillery's being landed right where my vehicles were last seen, or at least where my infantry were. So my Humvees are down, but I mean, no big shock. I'm moving my Bradley up to see if it can shoot at anything, but then I realized, oh, nope, there was actually a V-Horror in there, so I lost that. So, Stinger's moving across, the combat's moving back, so a little bit of mismanagement here. But this is what I put in here. Lots of light rifle mid-90s. They don't do a whole lot of damage against T-90S, but they actually do a little bit of damage to V-Horrors on the side. The whole point of this is just to create area denial with these Super Dragons. They've got 19-25 meter range. They've got okay range, but basically they're designed to keep any vehicles sequestered away from this forest. These heavy tanks that are over here, well, it wasn't really the goal, but they do kind of do the job of at least keeping them a bit away. Combat's taking more of a hit with this artillery that's going to be constantly raining on in, so I'm going to try to get that combat out alive. Doing the reverse, LVTP is also reversing out. I have a SMAW here. It's got pretty good, decent range, and this is designed to shoot at any infantry that come across, as well as any heavier vehicles, as well as Navy SEALs to stop any infantry from coming up. Maverick also has some Legion 90s and Chasseurs to help me out. So our entire job is just to guard here, and I pretty much just guard. I would have been tempted to try to push forward. I'm noticing a lot more that the enemy force have been leaving more and more. But I honestly didn't pay that much attention. I was just so focused here. Because I saw those heavy tanks and said, wow, I don't really have anything to deal with those heavy tanks. So as long as I can delay them from pushing forward, the better. Fortunately, it looks like Lemming has a Leopard 2A1 and a 2A5 on standby. So in case they move up their heavy stuff, we can at least gauge that way. And so, yeah, it's just kind of a hold down defensive position over here. It looks like my ally team managed to completely secure Delta. That's kind of surprising. As well as secure this town here, as well as starting to reinforce the right side over here along the road to Charlie. So my Humvee is parked in a fire, so not that great. I'm learning every one of the stuff in here. Don't sit and attack with smoke. And I'm just thinking, yeah, right. First off, I don't have a mortar with this squad. Second, I know that they had a whole lot more stuff in these forests, and as well as over here in this forest. So staying here and defending was probably what I wanted to do the most. Just wait for the enemy to push forward like this Boshang Suits, just getting hammered by my small squad. Trying to engage with their LMG, but they're kind of shaken up against those Chasseurs. Managed to survive that last shot with the SMAW, but I also bring up my LVP with its frag grenades as I turn off my SMAW because I realized they're wasting all of their ammo on that Boshang Suit. T-90S, that's the one I was really scared of. I did not want to move up because of that. Maverick's trying to listen and push forward, but I moved my SMAW knowing that the artillery is probably going to be coming down on me. It looks like the enemy is actually backing up as they fear that the attack that's moving forward by Maverick. So the Chasseurs are kind of caught up into that artillery fire. So that was a little unfortunate on his part. And of course the collateral damage over with that. I'll try to actually go in ×2 because it is a little slow being a tactical. We're all trying to be very careful with our units as Kiwi's pushing up over here on the right side. So it looks like, yep, there are a couple of tanks here. Legion 90s actually go engage Proletary, warning the V-Horde that they need to actually get away from those Eric's missiles. And looks like Leopard 285 is also trying to engage the V-Horde at long range. Stabilizer malfunction actually misses the V-Horde. He probably needs to send that that Leopard 285 back, because my LVTP is actually going to be trying to engage the Proletary with his front machine gun and frag grenades to help out killing it, so being panicked and kind of going everywhere. Still gets the kill. I have some light rifle mid-90s that I actually pulled back from here to guard in case they tried to move over here. Cluster munition is coming over, trying to do any damage to all the vehicles that were here as well. So we're just very slowly but surely just dismantling any of the enemy defenses. Tiger 2s, two of them, and Legion 90s, wrecking those V-Horse, are down to 1 HP. But now an Su-27 PQ is coming in, Going to go for the Tigers. Fires one missile, hits it. My Patriot, actually, I did turn on, but fortunately it did get shot down by the enemy on the right-hand side. And, yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of artillery. That's the theme. The moment we make any progress, that progress is immediately artillery. I see that my allies did make quite a bit of progress, but I do want to keep my light riflemen 90s here and here. The whole purpose of these is just to make the enemy think twice before advancing, just area denial. But for a close quarters forest combat, Navy SEALs and SMAWs to back up the Leopard 2A1 and the Legion 90, I'm all for. And also, time to repair them up with a HEMT. Over on the right-hand side, looks like we're slowly squeezing the enemy on 3 points on Charlie. Looks like an attackums took out Salamandra as they're beginning their attack over here on the right-hand side. But the enemy has a lot more stuff here that we are capable of, and so I moved my Navy SEALs up to take out a band tank ATGM team. DSD is moving up and starting to fire the Navy SEALs, which I decide, you know what, let's get out of there. Right on time, as artillery is starting to move up as well. Leopard 2A1 engages the DSD, and I'm, of course, moving back just in time for my HEMT to come and try to repair everyone. Reman, repair, reload, everything. Though the Leopard 2A1, okay, he moved a little bit farther back, but he's all repaired up now. So I'm going to move up my Navy SEALs to help take out any Boshang-Su that they might come across. I turned off the light machine gun because they were refusing to use their frag grenades for some reason. Small moves up, take it out, and again I just keep moving them around because as you can see they're just constantly artillerying wherever anyone goes. Legion 90s get hit. So this is just a very slow, methodical backwards and forwards, just trying to see whatever little ground that we can get, because I'm not getting very many points. Like, maybe I have 30 points in the bank at this point. It's very slow, as most tacticals are. It looks like our offensive here was repelled, and so everything's been delayed as more artillery is raining down upon our forces. Looks like a massive tank push is coming up. Cluster munition is coming, so it looks like the vehicles managed to get out of it mostly. SMAWs stay and fight, fire their SMAWs, but they too are overwhelmed. Leopard 2A1 also gets taken out. That cluster munition would have been better to stop and just readjust over to this forest. HEMT is going to try to run down the road as fast as possible. Does get taken out, but my light rifleman 90s do hit the Vihor twice, doing a little bit of damage as my Patriot is getting a little too close to where the Lars fired. So just barely drove out of range before it was accidentally taken out by a stray artillery shot that was not meant for it. As I move it back, waiting for the enemy airstrike. This Patriot, I was basically in anticipation that the airstrike was going to be coming. And boom! The attackums took out, looks like a T-90S. And something else here. Just a regular vehicle. So, super heavies are the real problem. Like I said, don't have very much stuff to deal with that. I think this Humvee was actually injured. I sent it back to repair. I'm weird like that. These throwaway vehicles, I try to repair up nicely and say, yeah, let's keep them in the fight. Light Rifleman 90 took out a T-62D, I think. Legion 90s are moving up, but they go into a whole wall of enemy infantry, so they have to back up. Especially when they're being bombarded by mortars as well. And this is why I didn't move these Light Rifleman 90s up. They were in a good position. And I tried to help out the Legion 90s by bringing in a Harrier. That was what I finally had barely enough points for. Bringing in a rocket plane, which I thought would be good just to constantly harass enemy forces over and over and suppress them with those rocket pods. Looks like a Shiloh is over here in the forest, so need to be careful of any air there. As I moved up an LAV-25 Scout, which is designed to basically see if the enemy tries to make any push over here on the left-hand side. Artillery's coming up, so they obviously saw where my Patriot was somehow. I don't know how because it didn't fire, but quick on the draw as I am, I managed to drive it out of harm's way. So, that was good. It's pretty far back, but it still does have the range. If a bombing strike comes in, they may still get off the bombs, but the Patriot will be able to lock onto it. Puma Logistics is moving up, which is kind of a bad idea. I mean, yeah, we'll get a little bit more missiles and everything, but as it's expected, here comes all the mortars. So it has to scare that away, but it did give it a few more Super Dragon missiles to my Light Rifleman 90s. Commandos Para was spotted. I had to alert them that they are being mortared. And we're just kind of stuck in this artillery fight. I don't know if my Harrier was lost already or not. Longbow moves up, but it is being fired back upon. So it needs to be worried or be careful about what you can do. Using that excellent optics to see what all is there. Proletariat is caught in the middle of cluster munitions. And the Longbow is able to shoot the Proletariat with his autocannon while shooting at the mortars with its 8 Hellfire missiles. So that actually was really good for us. We were able to prevent any more mortar fire directed at us. Pongay 2 also goes down as well as the Tiger had, and Maverick Commando Marines are moving up straight into the Proletariat. The difference is Proletariat are panicked, whereas the Commando Marines are calm, being elite trained and backed up by the Longbow, which is actually being artillery, and actually goes down to that artillery. The Commando Marines are actually ripping apart the Proletariat 90s. They are starting to get a little bit worried and panicked now, but the damage is already done. The Proletariat 90s is still panicked, not very accurate, and the Commando Marines are now confronted by 2 heavy tanks and completely destroyed as well as a whole bunch of other stuff. Light Rifleman 90s take out a couple of transports that are coming over to try to stop it down, as I am actually making an attack over here on the left. Light Rifleman 90s, LAV, and a couple of infantry are moving forward to take up the Specialty Jonitsky. Have some forces in here. I think these are just like regular rifleman squads as they're firing over on the Specialty. But Vihor, the Vihor got hit by the light rifleman and got the firing computer reset. Tiger Hat is also here as well as the light rifleman holding off the Yakude, backed up by the Legion 90s with the Mini-Me. And so this is just a position that you just don't feel comfortable engaging with at all. Napalm hit my infantry squad, who are just going to run forward. The M113A3s are moving up, going to try to chase down the Specialty Jonitsky. Being hit by the Van Tank ATGM squad, as I'm trying to go and take them out. M113 is turning his Browning machine guns onto the Van Tank, see if we can take them out, as well as the Rifleman 90s are also moving up. So as you can see, I'm just trying to counterattack over here on the left-hand side where they massively reinforced this forest area here. Looks like they cluster munition where my CV was, but CV is infantry, so no harm, no foul for me. LAR 160s are repairing and reloading, but we're going to need them to try to, again, hit this forest line. Light Rifleman 90s are against the Van Tanks. Van Tanks only have 1-man squad left, whereas even though they're very panicked, they're still going to be able to provide a little bit better firepower, but they're also backed up by Commandos Para. So, slow push, again, just trying to take this, and then my goal is to eventually push forward into the town here. If I could get this town with light rifleman 90s, I would be able to provide an area denial and push my way into hotel again. And looks like another attack squad killed, looks like Estrella. So that is pretty good. How's over here on the right? Kind of static again. Sometimes that happens to tactical, it's just kind of static because everyone's worried about losing everything. Shiloh's on the retreat. My light rifleman 90s are spreading out. See if there's anything that was missed. LAV 25 Scout is also going over here. AMX 13 dies. I was bringing an ATGM squad. We kind of needed that. Thermal barrack bombs destroy the rifleman 90 squads that was here. Commandos 90s kill off there. And here comes the HT-40 Flamen, which has those rocket pods. They're just regular rocket pods, not... my LAV-25 is going to try to engage that, but the rocket pods do manage to take it out before I can do very much, and I realize I don't have anything to deal with this helicopter, so now I need to bring something to do so. Sadly, the Patriot only can attack air, so that's not going to be able to do that at all. Another Tiger had from Maverick. I think this is the same one that's going back and forth all game. As he's making a push with the Legion 90s, kind of brave on his part. I mark that the Neva is here, that the light rifleman spotted, and the cluster does take that out, so that is AA that we don't have to worry about. MiG-29 comes in with more thermal barrack bombs, barely moved the light rifleman 90s out of the way as the Legion 90s managed to reveal that to the infantry here. The Tiger had tried to move up to help, but gets taken up by the aircraft. Looks like a Nighthawk managed to basically wipe out all the enemy forces there, as well as there's two 1,000 kilogram bombs, but the Patriot is ready on the mark to shoot it down proper. And I quickly turn it off and going to be moving it elsewhere so it doesn't get artillery. More cluster munitions. I think they're trying to target the LAR 160s over here. AMX 40s managed to drive it just after the cluster munition is done. The Legion sacrifice won't be forgotten. Yeah, we're just constantly talking to each other like this. Lemmings moving up with the Legion 90s, as well as my light riflemen again being in the back line, but they're now suffering from napalm strikes. Another cluster barrage happened. Tickled those HQ-70, HQ-7s, but they managed to retreat out. Legion 90s are moving up alongside the Leopard to go head toe-to-toe with the V-Horde, but a fire computer reset managed to disrupt it, and I tried to go up to support him, and this is why I kept the light rifleman 90s back, because it just got completely destroyed, because I thought we had a little more momentum than we actually did. Let them know that there was a Moderna there. Bombs go off. Don't know if it got any kill. There's a couple of helicopters here. These have been the most annoying to have to deal with. Bradley's up, trying to bring in the Stinger A squad. Another cluster barrage. Something blew up here. Transport. Due to the fact that there's still no Moderna corpse, it's probably reason to believe that it's still alive, but this has been a very back and forth. It looks like they're now starting to push into Charlie, get most of the way in. There's the CV still hidden somewhere, but it looks like they're also thinking about bypassing it entirely and going straight for Gulf, which is the reinforcement point. And another napalm barrage comes and lands into this forest region. I've just basically shifted from holding this town, because most of my allies are, just try to hold this forest, see if I can do anything with this forest. I'm bringing in some extra AA. I've got the Stinger squad here, as well as these M163CS. They could do good against both infantry, light vehicles, and helicopters, so I was just anticipating to take out these helicopters with those. These guys do have rocket pods, but I figured I should be able to take them out easily. Boy, was I wrong on that. You're about to see. Let everyone know that Tunguska is here, as looks like Charlie has finally been neutralized with the first Gruppe. Volkskommager 90s are moving forward, and the push into Gulf is commencing, while it looks like the enemy is sending a considerable amount of their forces here to try to hold off our push. In fact, they're actually launching an attack. I redirect a CEV squad vehicle over here to try to attack any infantry with its massive HE squad. Over here, both of those vehicles and the Stinger squad got destroyed by the rocket pods because they all missed. The missiles missed, the M163s missed, so I have to wait for more anti-helicopter stuff in order to be able to make my push forward. CEV didn't actually be able to get its eyes on anything, so I have to retreat it because there's no way it can take on heavy vehicles as HQ-7 is firing at our helicopters. So due to the fact that they've been launching massive artillery, we have to counter with our own massive artillery and Thunderbolt. And the HT-40 is trying to move up as we're trying to take out any of the infantry that came in, as I knew that there would be. Even the Humpy's trying to move up with his Browning, but doesn't get taken out by the Proletariat. I quickly try to shift and shoot all the firepower on the HT-40, including the Bradley firing at it, but he wisely retreats it. Tries to get in range with the Plabin, but I immediately tried to do a retreat with my riflemen and light riflemen. Holding a little bit to try to put this napalm between me and the helicopter so the helicopter can't see with the smoke and the fire. And also trying to use this napalm to try to funnel the enemy infantry into a specific direction so that these guys can try to do as best they can, but being stunned up and fighting against some pretty shock-trained and lead-trained infantry, they do not last long. It looks like the enemy is going to be pushing me out. And I figure, oh, this is lost. Time to retreat everything. Patriot, Bradley does bring up my replacement Stinger. Everyone move back. Gotta reconsolidate before I can make another attack. Give that all up. It looks like we're getting some reinforcement by everyone else. Vic and Toomtarn is advancing with his German squad as they're trying to help us push forward. It seems like they've been quite successful on the right-hand side, and so they need to divert to try to hold off the enemy force that was trying to come forward. So they're reinforced and retook this town as Vic, Tanzenham, 95, they're trying to hold off any enemy forces here, but I sent everything in retreat, but nope, I'm actually going to be moving up with these Volkskommager 90s, the CEV, see if I can help out. was the Bushmaster and the high explosive gun. Thunderbolt comes in and does a strafing run. That was actually very beautifully done. Another napalm barrage happens here as more reinforcements are going to be coming in, as I tried to continue hitting this forest line area here. And my goal, I'm fine with losing all of this as long as my entire goal was just to hold the line. Maybe push a little bit to threaten them, but I did not want this to falter. I did not want them to be able to push all the way to our air corridor. And I think I did that pretty well, all considering what I had and the lack of reinforcements points that I was getting in. So, again, the Bradley and the CEV is moving up as the Fallschirmjäger 90s are coming across. Lad Stinger A is coming off as the Bradley is actually a little bit on the low fuel line. I actually had to turn off for fuel, and I think that was for something else, but I think I do remember to turn that back on. BTRT is over here, and my CEV is on standby in case more infantry push, but with all these tanks, I said, yeah, it's probably best just to stay hidden. Bradley's moving up to try to shoot at the Hera 2. And again, gets hit by a whole bunch of ATGMs and rocket pods. So it does not belong to this world, as well as the Fallschirmjägers also have to retreat. Rifleman 90s got hit by the ATGM, so they fell out and they're down to 4 men. But I moved these guys up, and I think I forgot about them. Yes, I did. And then do I still forget about them, or do I finally unload? I finally unload those rifleman squads after those were hit. But yeah, I took a little bit of unnecessary losses over here, but finally I'm bringing something up to deal with any of the other vehicles, and hopefully those ATGMs. The M1 Abrams, very good at forest fighting, believe it or not. If you have it intermixed with infantry, with its front armor, it can withstand several RPGs to the front. With its massive, with its brother machine gun, M240, and gun, with rapid fire gun, it can be quite killer if you form a front line in the forest directly. M013 does get taken out by another ATGM as my Lad Stinger again moves up. Hopefully I don't lose this because he misses his missile and the helicopter immediately turns and fires its rocket pods over here on the left. In the middle, we actually managed to push up onto the forest as the enemy's been slowly but surely being strangled. Though it is a pretty close game. With we only have 5,510 points to their 5,335. Ito takes out the enemy vehicle. Hera's moving up. This is time for the Lad Stinger. Aims. Misses again. Hera 2 fires. Finally gets taken out by the Lad Stinger A as the Abrams actually took quite a bit of hit. Try to take out the enemy infantry. Another rocket pod barrage goes and hits the M1 Abrams. As another cluster barrage is destroying the enemy vehicles over here. Lad Stinger A finally manages to take out those 2 helicopters that have stopped my offensive twice in the previous. Now we're all good over here on the left-hand side. Another cluster munition, so these clusters have been very good, trying to help out the enemy force. M84AN is shooting at any of the infantry that it can definitely see. Nighthawk moving up to destroy any of the vehicles that were here. MiG-29 shows up as my Patriot tries to shoot it down. Hits it, but it does manage to get out, probably on 1 health. Vihor is moving up and manages to take out the Abrams, so that's not enough for such a heavier tank than the Abrams itself. Bradley has to move back. And we continue the stalemate as there's only 1 minute left in the game. Proletary 90 are moving forward as trying to engage the enemy forces, and it looks like I'm trying to... My CEV actually ran out of fuel as the enemy looks like doing one last desperate try to get points. And see, it's very, very close. Stingers are retreating. Riflemen are trying to hold them back as the CEV manages to lock on target and manages to hit that Proletary square on. Reloaded as Proletary move up. The CEV should be able to take them out as all my riflemen are just trying to kill whatever they can. Deagle moves up. Barely missed the Vihor as we managed to get about 500 points more than the enemy, even though it's a draw on that regards. As you can see, lost more than I gained. Not think by much, but in tactical, every point kind of matters. You can see how many points I've had to work with throughout the whole game over here. But yeah, Lad Stingers shot down the KA-52, LVTP did what it did with its grenade launcher. Light Rifleman 90s even killed a Neva. That actually was pretty well done. So as you can see, just holding the line, kind of tactical. Not saying no expensive units really. Um, they're all lighter stuff. Probably the Patriot was the heaviest stuff I had, and it only shot down one plane. But I was expecting more plane resistance and less artillery spam. But anyways, that was still, I think, a good enough game. So I've decided to add this. And then I will be doing the other nations like I promised. And then eventually get over to Warno. So hopefully it won't take weeks before the next Wargame Red Dragon video comes out. So thank you all so for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.